Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Before starting, we had a problem with Instagram, so we are not broadcasting on Instagram today, but on the other social media channels, we are celebrating as usual. We are broadcasting as usual. This is chapter 21, verse 107. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. And we have not sent you except as a mercy to alameen. Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Ali Rahmatullah Alayh has translated alameen here as the nations. And today I want to see what alameen can be. Sadaqallahu Waliyul Azim. That today I want to see what alameen can mean. And inshallah next week we'll see how the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a mercy to alameen. And we start with the root of the word, which is Ain Lam Mim. And in fact, because it's a plural, we have different types of alameen, so to speak. But basically it means something through which you gain understanding, knowledge of the existence of Allah, of the Creator. For example, in chapter 7, verse 185, it says, Avalam yanzuru fi malakuti samawati wal ard. Do they not see? Do they not reflect? Do they not think about the heavens and the earth? And here God is inviting us to actually do research, because that will lead us to the conclusion, to the attributes of the Creator. Now, in Arabic, when things have the same characteristic, they're also called alim. For example, we have alimul insan, the collection, the gathering, the universe of humans. Alimul ma, the universe of water. Alaman nar, the collection, the universe of fire. So when things have the same characteristic, they are called alim, or their collection is called alim. And an interesting thing to notice is that the word alam, which means flag, standard, but also something, a marker that allows you to recognize something, is also called alam. And there is some debate about what it means and how many alims, how many alameen there are, etc., etc. And there have been great books written on this, with people discussing this. But I like the definition given by Hazrat Imam Jafar bin Muhammad, that there are two kinds of alims, alimul kabir and alimul saghir. And basically he's dividing that into living things and inanimate things. So the bigger, the greater alim, he says, is the earth and the heavens and the skies and the sun and the moon and so on. And alim al-sagir, the smaller one, is, he says humans, but I would suggest it means living things, because there are clear differences between animate and inanimate objects. And in fact, the Holy Quran starts off at the very beginning. It says, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise is due to the Creator, to the Rabb of Alameen. And that includes animate and inanimate objects. That includes living things, that is humans, and fruits and vegetables, as well as the earth and the heavens and the skies, etc., etc. So, but the interesting thing is this. As I said, this is alim is something through which you gain knowledge, understanding of the Creator. And this is why the whole of the universe is called alam, because it's through, as I said, study of the universe that we recognize its creator. But the interesting thing is that different tribes or castes, they're also called alim. And time periods, the same word is used for time. So it has a very wide understanding. And I talked about Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. And it becomes the definition. It says, as I said, all praise is due to the Creator, the Rabb, the being who created these things and gradually perfected them. That's what Rabb is. A creator who creates something and then by degrees makes it perfect. So Rabbul Alameen would be a creator who created the whole of the universe and then by degrees, step by step, is making it perfect. One example of this could be theory of evolution. Man, humans, uh, used to walk on all fours, and then they stood up and they started walking on two legs, and then using their hands or something. And then God says that I taught you, I perfected you. God says, Allama Adam al Asma Ullaha. That I taught you, I gave you knowledge of everything in the universe. Or in another place it says, Allama al Insana Malam Yalam. I gave you knowledge of those things that you knew nothing about. And we know this, that man has always been curious. And he has looked at volcanoes and the sun and the moon and everything and come up with all manner of theories. I mean, we laugh at them now, but the point is this, that those people were trying to explain some phenomena. For example, in the very early times, when a volcano exploded, people would say, well, we've done something wrong and we've angered the gods or God, and this is a sign of his anger. But then God is more explicit. Allah is more explicit in the Holy Quran, and He says, "Allam al bayan." I taught you to speak, because without speech we cannot fully express ourselves. All animals, they speak, they communicate with each other. We know that animals like, for example, ants talk to each other. Honeybees talk to each other. Some animals we can hear. And when they're in pain or distress or whatever, their sound changes. They do try and communicate with each other. But their communication hasn't developed. But human communication has developed. And that has developed the understanding of each other's emotions and so on. But interestingly, the Holy Quran also says, Allama bil qalam. And we gave him knowledge We taught him with the pen. Now, if you go back to Rabbil Alameen, you can see how by stages humans are being perfected. God teaches them to talk so they can express each other, to each other, their feelings, their desires, the knowledge they have in a much better way. Humans have made language more explicit. In law, in medicine, in physics, in mathematics, things mean specific things, which may be in different things in ordinary language. For example, integration. To integrate has one meaning in ordinary language, but it has a specific meaning in calculus. And that wouldn't have happened if humans hadn't been able to first express themselves and write it down. And this is what God says, Rabbul Alameen. I created all these different categories. And by development, by small stages, each one is becoming perfect. Now, Rabbil Alameen, if we remember that it also applies to time, not just things, but also time. And alim, we know that in Urdu, and for example, alim also means time. So Rabbul Alameen, today we can say that God has now brought humanity to a point by developing speech and writing and other things. God says, I taught him the names of everything that I have created in the universe. Doesn't mean that God says, teaches us 1, 2, 3, or elsewhere in the Holy Quran, it says that hunting dogs, you teach them with the knowledge that Allah has given you. Well, Allah hasn't given us that knowledge by putting us in a classroom where He teaches us what to do. He has given us the ability to acquire this knowledge and all knowledge. So Rabbul Alameen means that the Creator, who has given humanity the ability and got them to a point where it is now up to them, in a way, what they do. They can destroy themselves, they can destroy the earth, or they can learn to live together and save humanity and concentrate on finding cures for diseases and so on. Because He is the creator and He is the developer of the whole of the human race. Now, having put this ability in us, it then lies to us how we use it. In your nuclear technology, you can use it to destroy humanity, as has been done in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and other places like British experiments when they would explode an atom bomb in the Australian desert and then get ordinary soldiers to march through to see how it will affect them. And yes, many of them contracted cancer and many other diseases down the line. Or the same knowledge can be used to cure cancer, to generate electricity without polluting the atmosphere. It is up to us how we use that knowledge. So if alameen is everything, then what does it mean when it says that the Holy Prophet was a mercy for everything in the universe? What it means is that the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam set practical examples of how we should deal with anything. For example, even to slaughter animals needed for food. He said, the animal you want to slaughter, you should take it away from other animals of that kind so they can't see, because animals feel. Do it in private. Use a sharp knife to inflict the minimum amount of pain. I would say kill the animal in the most humane way possible. Good treatment of animals was recommended. He said that people who treat animals badly, overload them, don't feed them properly, will be punished. Their prayers and other things will be wasted because they haven't learned to treat that alim in the same way as Allah treats us. Treatment of how to do business, treatment of wives and children, and prisoners of war, to the extent that he said, if you're performing wudu and you're by the shores of a river, even then perform your wudu thinking you only have a handful of water. He set up, we have national parks these days, and they're all the rage. We have Yellowstone National Park and Death Valley National Park and Yosemite National Park and Everglades National Park and so on. The Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the first person to set up a national park outside Medina, where you couldn't cut down trees. There were restrictions. You could only use it for grazing your animals and nothing else. This is an example of his teaching of how to use our environment. So in everything, our treatment of wives and children and our staff and our servants and our dealings with other people, use of natural resources, whichever alim you take, he set up the principles of dealing with using that alim. Unfortunately, we have ignored his instructions. We talk much about the sunnat of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, and we must follow that, and etc. But to people who do that, I ask this question: what did the Holy Prophet put forward to the Quraysh as evidence of his truthfulness when he made the claim to be a prophet? He said, look at my character. Do I lie? Do I cheat? Am I dishonest? Have I usurped anyone's rights? Do I give in to the strong to please them? Do I exploit the weak? And a whole city with one voice said no. Can we say that when we go out and we say we are going to preach and propagate Islam? Can we say that? Look at me, I have come to propagate Islam to you. Anyone who goes out and says that, people will catch 100 of his lies, 1,000 of his dishonest acts, and so on. And that is why Islam is not spreading and being propagated. The Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a mercy to the whole, not just of humanity, but to the whole of creation. And if this creation is going to last, if this creation is going to prosper, if this creation is not going to destroy itself, then we have to go back and look at the principles that he set forth on which we should be living our lives. Barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Qur'anil azim wa nafana wa iyyakum bil ayati wa zikril hakim innahu ta'ala jawadun karimun malikun barraufur rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi wa na'udzu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlilhu fala hadiya lahu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم انصر من نصر دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم واجعلنا منهم واخذل من خذل دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ولا تجعلنا منهم عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasul. Allahu Akbar. Qad qamati salah, qad qamati salat. Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل ألم يجعل كيدهم في تضليل وأرسل عليهم طيرا أبابيل ترميهم بحجارة من سجيل فجعلهم كعصف مأكول. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده ربنا الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده ربنا الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Astaghfirullah. Allahumma anka salam. Tomorrow. Thank you for joining us for our Friday service. I suddenly seem to have developed a very sore throat and painful throat. I apologize for that. And inshallah, we'll meet again next Friday. Assalamu alaikum, Khuda Hafiz, and goodbye.